Welcome everyone to our final lesson in this series on self-reflection. Today we're going to look at goals. Goals provide something to aim for. If we come up short, which sometimes happens, we have to be okay with that. We must look at what we could have done better, or what could we have done different that might have helped us to achieve that goal or goals. Then on the flip side, if we do achieve our goal or goals, then we should look at what we did that made that possible. Were there things that would have helped us if we had approached differently? And it's questions like these that cause you to look within yourself. And it provides a way to grow and mature. Because even if you did succeed, there's always room for growth. And if you ever stop growing, you become stagnant, and stagnant will eventually lead you to complacency and potentially regressing. So as we grow and mature, reaching our goals becomes more possible. And there are factors outside our control, but what is within our control should be examined. We should also look at what we want to achieve. But not just what we want to achieve, but why. There are some goals that we do simply say, hey, I did it. And then there's deeper, more meaningful goals that have a reason to the rhyme. So in this lesson, we're going to examine goals. We'll look at ways to structure or order steps to achieve our goals. We'll look at the meaning behind goals, and what reaching them does for us. So all the information gathered can be used as you prepare your own meaningful goals. Carefully self-reflecting on what you do have, as well as what you will need to achieve them. So what are goals? Goals can be defined as an objective or a target to work towards. There are short-term goals, which are usually a year or less, and there's long-term goals, which take about 3 to 5 years, sometimes longer. A short-term goal might be for, if you look at football team, would be to win the game that week. The long term would be to win the national championship. Well, that's not 3 years out, but that's the best example I guess I got for at the moment. Short-term goals sometimes will build upon each other and eventually equate to long-term goal. So they can be steps, or they could be isolated in and of themselves. Some categories of goals, there are many: family goals, financial, spiritual, personal development, health, etc. Goals consist of steps to achieve the desired outcome. You don't climb 6 flights of stairs with one step. You don't, as the saying goes, eat an elephant in one bite. There are steps to achieve our goals. Goals also add accountability to our life. As we create goals, then they hold us accountable to achieve that goal. Otherwise, we just wrote something down on a piece of paper. We can also involve others to help us to be accountable. They can check in on us. So why should we have goals? By having a goal, it increases your motivation. You structure a step by step, and as you move through the steps, it gives you a boost. It's kind of like a race, and if you're in like a 5K and you get to the 1/4 point, like, all right, I got 3/4 way to go. Well, I'm halfway there, and then you might hit that runner's wall, but you push through it, and then when you get to 3/4 of the way there, you're really motivated now because you almost got it. The difficult part sometimes with goals is that for some of us, myself included, we could be serial procrastinators, and we have to kind of fight through that as well. I know when I was writing one of my books, um, I struggled to even get started, but once I got started and got moving along, everything was fine. But then I hit that point, it was like tired and just didn't want to do it anymore. And I had to kind of push through that. Once I pushed through that and I saw the end in sight, I was able to be motivated enough to finish. So by having this goal to publish this book, my motivation was increased. Without any clear direction, I probably would have shelved it and never finished it. Goals also help us to prioritize. If we have a couple goals going on at once, we can prioritize what's the most important one. And if we get in a pinch, then we can focus on the one that's most important to us, or maybe not so much the one that is beating closer to the deadline. But then we can prioritize things. We can look at ourselves and say, okay, which of these takes precedent? And it's organization, which is order, which is the last point on this slide. But it will help us to prioritize our lives, what's important to us. We can get so busy and distracted doing things that just don't matter. Checking boxes and doing things and never really using our talents and our gifts with goals. They'll help us to prioritize. And they'll provide direction. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So it's important that we add some direction to our lives. If you're a book writer like myself, you don't want to spend time doing a hobby of working on cars, or you don't want to be an artist or write music. If your gift is to write books, then that's what you want to focus on. Leave the other things to those that are meant for that, because each of us has gifts and talents. And when we focus on what we're good at, we're directed towards that, we can accomplish so much more, and we'll motivate ourselves, and the less frustration that we'll feel. And finally, goals establish order, which is a biblical principle. We saw the order to creation, we see the order of the tabernacle, there's always order. And if there's no order, there's chaos. So we can get really chaotic in life without something to aim for, some sort of goal. How does this all tie into self-reflection? By self-reflecting on our goals, we can attach a why to the goal, making it more meaningful, not simply something to achieve. Not that there's wrong with just achieving something, but when you have a why attached to it, there's it's really honestly it's motivating. Um, I have a notebook, and in it I write down presentations I want to do. I do books I want to write, but at the end of it all, with the outline, I write a why. And there's not really a clear why, then I question whether or not I should even bother with it. Your why will vary. One of the an example would be I wrote a book on leadership, and my why behind it was to be a voice for the voiceless and to let people know that they're not alone. That it's okay to respectfully speak up against unhealthy leadership, address it, and let's work towards doing better, healing from it, and to go forward. And so the why behind it was not only to express my experience, but to give a voice to the voiceless and to help others. Self-reflection regarding goals examines the impact of the goal. By pursuing that goal, is it going to be helpful or harmful? Is it going to help you? Is it going to harm you? Is it going to help others, or will it harm them? Sometimes your goals can be so selfish that they're detrimental to others, and then we don't really see that, and then we do something maybe that we should have not done or should have reframed and went about it a different way. So we can look at the impact of the goal and determine, is this beneficial or not? We can look at the future implications of the goal. This sort of goes in line with the impact, but when we look at the future implications, we're not just seeing the here and now, we're looking down the road. We're envisioning what's ahead of us. Will the goal lead us to maybe another goal and ultimately greater success? Will the goal provide growth and maturity? It's questions like these that we can ask ourselves regarding our goals, and this will help us to self-reflect, help us to know ourselves better and our intentions so that we're not misaligned or we're out there spinning our wheels chasing something that's really not possible, and yet we deem that it is. Now, there's nothing wrong with having high and lofty dreams. I'm not saying nothing to achieve the impossible or to go after it, but don't align your goals with something that's not within your purpose. The best goals are often aligned with what your purpose is, which I'll explain here in a minute what your purpose is and help you maybe find your purpose if you're not sure what it is. Self-reflection regarding goals helps us look at strengths and weaknesses within ourselves. What do I have going for me? My character, what traits do I have? What can help me to accomplish this goal? And at the same time, conversely, what do I have going against me? What are some weaknesses? If we look at the weaknesses, we know that what we will have to overcome. We won't be blindsided going forward. We'll get halfway to the goal and then hit that weakness, but we'll realize, okay, we already planned for this, and here's the map to get through that. So by assessing these different things, we can see how self-reflection is attached to goals. We look at the Bible now and what it has to say. As I mentioned, the tabernacle had strict instructions for building it, for packing it up, to move it. This is the order, or the goal. The goal was to stay put as long as the cloud was stationary. As the cloud moved, they followed it, and the goal is to follow God to the promised land. And their goal, or their instructions, and their order was to pack it up and to move it accordingly. There was a system to it, and there is a system to us achieving our goals. In Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. He that keepeth the law, happy is he. Without clear goals and objectives, we're prone to wander. We might end up somewhere where we perish. Goals are a vision for us. They help us to see clear, help us to envision it, help us to get to where we are going, our direction, as they stated. In Proverbs 3:5-6, says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. While we can achieve some things on our own, we might get pretty far on our own. We have better success when we involve God in our dreams, we involve God in our goals. And finally, Philippians 3:14, I press toward the mark, the prize, the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. Paul's writing here. He says, I press towards the mark. I press toward the goal. Now this is spiritual, that Paul's pressing, moving forward in Christ, moving forward to relationship with Christ and ultimately eternal life. However, there is a truth to this. We have to push. You can't just sit around and haphazardly expect our goals to fall into our lap or to be achieved. There is work that is required. And so when we self-reflect, we look at ourselves and say, am I up to the task? The Bible says, what man, when he's going to build, doesn't first count the cost to see if he has sufficient to finish. If you're not up to the task and you're not fit for it, you might want to set that goal aside until you're fit to achieve it. Otherwise, by writing that goal down and then going for it and then failing, you might demotivate yourself, and then you may not want to go after any other goals, and you might just go a pity party and just give up altogether. We're not out here to defeat ourselves, nor do we want others to condemn us or defeat us. So at the same time, be aware and count the cost before you set out on the journey to achieve what you want to achieve. And know that you will have to press, and that there will be some work that goes into it. If you think about a gym, you don't continually lift. I know this is silly, but you just don't lift 10 pounds and then keep lifting 10 pounds the rest of your life. If you're going to get stronger, you're going to have to push. You're going to have to add weights and lift and get stronger. So it requires some effort. Let me share a little bit as far as myself. One of my spiritual goals is to continually draw closer to God. less of me and more of him. Like Mary and the story of Mary and Martha. Martha was encumbered, trying to get everything in order. Mary just wanted to sit at the feet of Jesus. And in the same way, I don't want to be encumbered or distracted by unnecessary things. I live in this life. I have goals outside of my spiritual goals. I like to read. I like to do things. But ultimately, at the end of the day, my heartbeat is towards Christ, toward Jesus, and I know him as he knows me. And I'm intimate with him. And this is my spiritual goal when I'm just chasing after, is just to continue to be close to him. I mess up and I fall short, but I keep pushing, as Paul said, because it's my heartbeat to love Jesus, to know him more, because he's everything to me. One of my educational goals is to continue to pursue higher education to better myself. And I found that the more that I learn and the more perspectives of others that I entertain, I better myself. Higher education also gives me a chance at a better job. But there is another side to educational goal of mine. Some people pursue education to be the biggest man in the room, to flaunt their knowledge, walk around in their pride and arrogance. Not so with me. And I carefully say that, but it's being honest that yes, I love to educate myself. I love the challenge of higher education, and it has strengthened me and helped me to become a better individual. It's helped me to see things that I didn't see. I was just talking in one of my classes about delegation, and I'll be honest, I can be a little bit of a lone wolf. I like to do everything myself because I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I'll more often than not see it through. But in my pursuit of higher education, I've learned to delegate to others and trust them to finish their part, not do everything myself. And I've grown in that area. I pursue higher education also so that I can take what I've learned to bless others. I have others in mind. It's not just for me. I want to be able to take what I have, what I learn, what I achieve, and bless others. That hopefully they will become everything that they are meant to be. That they'll be encouraged and blessed. So it's not just for me, it's for others as well. I love to bless and help others. I love to see them achieve great things. It's kind of like Christmas when you give gifts away. I give gifts to my children. It's like, yeah, it's nice to give a nice present, but at the same time, I get the most joy out of seeing their faces as they open their gifts. One of my personal goal, or a couple of them, are to continue writing books, and I've written 3 so far, and I want to hopefully get to 10 before my life's over, and try to write at least 1 book a year. And I want to continue to make these YouTube videos that I'm doing that I can share with the world. Again, this is also part of blessing others. Writing blesses others, my higher education, my YouTube videos, those that will take the time to invest in me and value me for who I am. I may not be the most charismatic or the best speaker. Try to be mindful that I'm not monotone, but sometimes I get that way and I apologize. I'm kind of more the educated, matter-of-fact individual as far as teaching. I try to put some inflection in my voice so that this isn't just a dull, boring video, and hopefully you'll take what I share, the wisdom, the knowledge, and that you grow from it. So these are just some examples of goals that I have that can kind of maybe start you off brainstorming and figuring out maybe what you want to do, especially since this year's almost over. But don't wait till the year's over. You don't have to have it perfectly January 1st to start. You can start now. You wait and you might find yourself not doing it at all. So it's better just get started and hit the ground running and flow with it and know there will be ups and there will be downs. So what about you? What are your goals? I speaking to you, I challenge you to, if you don't have any, to write them down. If you're not sure, find your purpose. What's your purpose? Best way I can describe this, what would you do? What do you love to do? Even if you didn't get paid for it, you'd still keep doing it. I don't get paid a lot for my books. I don't sell a lot. It's a lot of work and effort that goes into it. From the outlining to the research to the writing, I spend well over 100 hours on a book. And I make very little, if anything at all. I'm not saying that for people to feel sorry for me. I'm just making a point that I don't get a lot. That doesn't stop me or deter me. I don't get anything for making these Fuji videos. I do these to bless others. My purpose is to write and to teach. And I enjoy doing it. And if I don't get paid for it, I'm going to keep doing it because it's my purpose. I love doing it. I enjoy it. So the same can be said for you. Maybe you love to paint or to draw. So draw, paint, whatever that you want to maybe fix computers. Find a way to bless others by investing in fixing their computer and getting your name out there, and then just continue to work on them and to grow in your craft. Figure out what you love and what you want to do. Maybe you like to write music and put your songs out on Spotify, and whether or not you get a lot of hits or not, put your song out there anyways. Don't be afraid to dream big. Don't be afraid to do things, and don't worry about so much if you make the money. If it comes, it comes. If not, do what you're called to do. Find your purpose, make some goals, and then dare to dream and chase them. Have you accomplished any goals in your life? Why or why not? This is something you can ask yourself. How many goals have we achieved? What goals do you want to achieve before your life's over? And if you've achieved goals, why? How? How did you achieve those? And if you've not achieved any, why not? What's stopping you? It's easy to be isolated and frozen by fear. It takes someone different to just dream. I crash landed myself. First book I wrote, I actually went and read, publishing it and everything else. It's life. It happens. Kind of deterred me. I didn't want to really write anymore after that. Then, through a series of events, God brought to my attention, hey, look, your purpose is to write and to teach. So I picked it back up. And since that time, I've written 2 more books. So don't be scared. Dream big, chase it. Soar high, crash land, bend your wings, and go at it again. And that leads into the next question, what's stopping you from achieving your goal or goals right now? And I know money can be an option. I know people say, well, heard a lot of things. It's like, sometimes money is a big deterrent. I get that. So try to do what you can at least without money if you're short on it or don't have a lot to spend, and then hopefully find a way to get some money so you can continue. One of the ways I found to overcome my writing, my publishing, is just use Amazon. Yeah, I don't have a professional editor. Sometimes I books, I miss errors, I miss words, or miss things that just because of my mistakes doesn't mean I'm going to stop. And it's not the most, I guess, professional of sorts using Amazon. It doesn't really get me out there so much, but again, I'm not going to allow excuses to deter me. I put my stuff out there. I do my best to edit it, make sure that it's good to go for the world to read, and I just leave it at that. There are free options. There are ways of getting your stuff out there. Just gotta be diligent in your research. What will you do to make your goals become a reality? Write down some things. Think about them. What can you do? Improve yourself. Reach out to others. Have someone hold you accountable. Figure out ways to make your dreams, make your goals a reality. Don't just shelve them. Live. Challenge yourself. Grow. You could do it. I believe in you. I know what it's like to chase things and crash. There's a book I just recently listened to, Cabin at the End of the Train. It's actually a really good book on dreams, goals. Highly recommend it if you have a chance to listen to it on an audiobook or read it. Finally, here's some helpful pointers for achieving your goals. Write down your goals. Write down your why for that goal, and then write down some steps to achieve it. And then, if you want to, you don't have to, you can put like dates after each step. I want to achieve this by this date. I want to achieve this by this date. And ultimately, my goal will be whatever. Um, that's very helpful. I have a planner, I have a notebook, I have different tools I utilize to write down goals, and then I just keep plugging away at it. One of the things I also learned was to draw a picture of one of the big steps in achieving your goal. Or you could draw the end result and hang it where you see it. I did this for higher education. I had a picture of kind of a conference room setting where I envision myself with my cohort in achieving a the achieving higher education and conversing with them on leadership. And so this picture is a motivator. Reminds you of your goal, reminds you that you can do this and that you got to see yourself. See yourself in that moment when you achieve it. Make a few pictures. This is very helpful. Involve others to keep you accountable. And make sure that they will check in on you. Don't be annoyed or deterred when they do. Know that you involving them is for a reason. And that their accountability will lead to a greater success rate. And finally, if you don't achieve your goal by your specified date, just re-examine and set a new date. Don't wad it up, throw it in the garbage. Don't give up on it simply because you didn't make it. Sometimes you won't reach a specified date. It's okay to have them, but don't let them be a voice of condemnation or a voice of deterrence. Whatever you do when you're going after your goals, just don't quit. Keep going. There are times you fall down, get back up, keep going. Hopefully this lesson on self-reflection and goals has been helpful. I pray that it's given you some pointers and helped you to understand how self-reflection helps us in setting good goals and achieving goals, the importance of goals, and how we can go about reaching them. Thank you for your time again watching this. This concludes the series on self-reflection. For the next 2 weeks, we're going to look at Matthew and the Christmas story in Matthew, and then we'll do the Christmas story in Luke to kind of prepare us for Christmas and the importance of Jesus coming to earth and the importance of his birth. Well, we've probably heard these stories. I'm just going to do a verse by verse kind of look at the scriptures. And if you haven't heard it, maybe this will be something that will be informative and encouraging and help you to grow in your walk with God. And even if you have heard it, maybe you'll hear something different or new that will really just catch your attention and help you. So those for the next 2 weeks, and then I'm going to step away till the new year, come back with some new content, and hopefully we'll be able to keep the train rolling throughout 2025 with all kinds of different lessons. And for those who subscribe and those who watch these, I pray that they just continue to be a blessing to you. So, thank you again so much for your time and for watching these. And again, I just pray that they bless you. As I said, I just want to help others. I want to encourage them and see them grow, and to see others reach higher heights and deeper roots. Until next week, go with God and be blessed. Thank you again.